Hey guys, welcome back. I wasn't going to shoot this video, but I figured maybe it would help some other guys out. The last race, I lost four-wheel drive.
I think. Yeah, no four-wheel drive.
As you can see, I had to pull the motor out. What happened was the through shaft for the four-wheel drive busted off at the tip, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And the only way to change that is to pull the whole motor, split the cases, and change that shaft and seals and bearings and everything. So it was pretty easy getting it out of the quad here. It actually took about an hour and a half, and mostly it's your general electrical connections here. I pulled I disconnected the throttle body here, pulled the motor mounts out, pulled the exhaust off. I actually removed the front diff here because I had to do some work to it. And then there's just 4 bolts here that hold the motor to the transmission. I took them off. I removed the mount back here for the transmission. That way I was able to actually turn the transmission and the motor out, so I could just pull the motor out. So let's go down to the motor here, and I'll show you what I got done with that, and I'll show you where the actual through shaft broke on me. Alright, so I got the motor down here. It's out of the quad, all apart, getting there. Got some parts laying here. This is the front of the motor, and this is actually where the through shaft broke. Right here where this snap ring is. It just snapped right there. So I think it was kind of weak. But in order to change the shaft, you got to pull the whole motor apart. Which I started doing already. This is where the stator cover is. I just pulled some bolts off of there. I pulled the valve covers off, and I also pulled the clutch side cover off here. This is where your primary clutch is. Just a bunch of bolts. I think they're 8mm. Make quick work. We're using the impact gun here, and as you can see, I got some of it taken apart already. Next thing I gotta do is I gotta take the timing chain off here. Gotta pull these bolts off, pull the jug off. There, pull the head off. Once I pull the head off, I can pull the jug off. I gotta split the motor right down the middle. I think I gotta take the starter off here and pull the motor right in half, and then I can get this shaft out. I'm gonna put new bearings and seals in there while it's all out, check the pistons and rings and everything. So got a little bit of work here, and I'm gonna take you guys through the process just in case you have the same problem. You have to pull the motor apart, split the cases to change that through shaft. So stick around and let's get after it. take the whole motor apart for this shaft here because you can't squeeze it through. See that? Can't squeeze it through there. It's got to come out this way. That's a stupid design. What a project. So much carbon buildup on these valves here. I don't know if they're seating all the way. So what I'm doing is I'm scraping it off here with a chisel and a razor blade, getting it off, and then finishing off. I got this like Scotch-Brite pad for this wire wheel here, and just polishing it up at the end here to get all the crud off of here and clean it up. I'm not an engine guy. Some of you guys will probably cringe at that, what I just did, but that is certainly cleaner than this here. So I'm going to go through the same process and clean this side up too. I know it's running rich. This quad's running rich. That's why there's so much black soot. I'm going to clean the other one up also, so let's get it done. Alright, so I was inspecting my jugs here, and look what I found in the coolant ports. The anti-freeze is supposed to run in these coolant ports. These two are plugged solid, and this one over here is also plugged. Almost like somebody left a paper towel in the coolant line. They got sucked up in there and clogged up these ports. So I'm glad I took this all apart and found this, because this one cylinder here, that one whole side of the cylinder wasn't getting any coolant. So good thing I found this, took it apart. Gotta get that cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and clean these pistons up. I cleaned one up already, cleaned up pretty good. There's a lot of carbon on them, so I'm gonna clean this other one up here. I'm gonna show you guys how I did it. Pretty much just scrape that off and then use a scoring pad to clean that up. So. Hey guys, got the quad all back together. I didn't video putting all the wire connectors together and the exhaust and putting the clutches back on. If you guys want to check that out, you can see my other videos, but that's just regular mechanic stuff. It's nothing real hard about it. But I did want to note or show you guys, so I got the quad running and it wasn't firing on the front cylinder. And what ended up happening was I checked the injectors, I checked the flow for the injectors, I checked the spark plugs, I rechecked the valve clearances, but I wasn't getting the front cylinder to fire. And what ended up happening was I had the timing off for the front cylinder 180 degrees. The injectors were firing and the intake valves are closed. So I got that figured out. One thing I wanted to tell you guys was when you're timing these motors, this is your crank sensor here, and there's a 1 and a 2 on the flywheel. And when you time these, you time the rear cylinder first, cylinder number 2. So you put the 2 in here. That means that rear cylinder is top dead center. You put your head on when both valves are closed. And then you turn the crank counterclockwise 280 degrees. So you're going to be turning it this way until the 1 shows up in the hole. So that means your front cylinder is top dead center. And then you put your head on when both those valves are closed. But you got to make sure it's the valves are in the right cycle. So there's a line on the sprocket for the heads for the timing. So you have to have that parallel with the top of the head. And I recommend getting the manual for this. I didn't have the manual originally, and a friend sent that page to me, so I got the timing right. And I actually took the quad out for a ride. Ran awesome. Ran way better than before. I think getting all that carbon off the pistons and heads and stuff helps it run a lot better. But I only got a couple days before the races here. I want to get out one more time. I only rode it for about 5 minutes. I want to get out one more time and just make sure everything's good on it. Make sure the coolant level and the oil levels are good on it, and I'm looking forward to the races on Sunday. So see you there. Thanks for watching.